everyone. So in class today we did an intro to turning words into math, and I asked you to try the you try, so I just want to see how you did. So it's 3 less than half of x. So first I see less than, so it was a flip it around word. Half of x, of means multiply, so it would have been 1/2 times x. We just write 1/2 x, less than 3. Remember, that 3 would come to the back. All right, 6 more than, twice a number y, so 2 times y. All right, hopefully you're doing okay. Half the difference between x and 3. Half the difference, okay, between x and 3. So the difference between x and 3 has to be done first. I want half of that. So that's an expression that I would need to put in parentheses with a half outside. I also could turn that into a division problem and write it as x minus 3 divided by 2, because when you divide something by 2, you are taking half of it. All right, the product of a number y and 20 is. Now is that new word we kind of talked about, which means equals. So the product means multiply, so product of a number and y, so 20y, we're going to always put the variable second, is 200. All right, 6 times the sum of a number and y. So we've got to do that sum of a number and y first. So the sum of a number y and 2, So y plus 2, I want 6 times that, but because that's an expression, has to go in parentheses because I want 6 times the whole quantity, is 14. All right, so let's look at some new stuff. So example 1 is how we bring geometry into this. So if I draw a segment that is L centimeters long, a segment is a piece of a line that has 2 distinct endpoints. So if I draw a segment and I call it L, if I want the length of a board 7 centimeters shorter than that segment or that board, it would be L minus 7. So that's 7 shorter. If I wanted the length of a board that's 6 centimeters longer than L, that would be L plus 6. So I could make a segment that's L plus 6, a little bit longer. And I could make one that's a little shorter, L minus 7. So you can see how they compare to that first one we started with L. All right, so now we got to talk about some key formulas. There's some key formulas that are going to help us with everything that we're doing when we turn things into math. So formulas are just equations that state rules about relationships. 4 formulas we're going to use a lot this year. First one, the area of a rectangle. We've talked about that one. So that formula is area equals L times W, and I'm going to use a capital L. So it really means area equals length times width. Okay, now as we look at a rectangle, the length is always the longer side and the width is always the shorter. So we're going to multiply when we want the area. But the perimeter we talked about is everything all the way around it. So if it's a rectangle and I have a length of L and a width of W, rectangles have opposite sides that are equal. So this would also be W and this would be L. So the formula for perimeter is actually 2 times L plus 2 times W. Why? Well, because there's 2 of W's and there's 2 of L's and we're adding them all up. All right, so some new ones that you might not know. Distance. Distance is equal to rate times time. And rate I want you to think of as speed for now. So distance equals the rate, so like miles per hour, kilometers an hour. Rate times the time, okay? And the last one is cost. Cost is equal to N times P, but what does that mean? Coach Fred, what in the world? So cost is equal to the number of items you have times the price per item. Think about that. If I have 5 apples and they're $1 each, it would be $1 times 5. So that's how we find the cost of something. All right, so how do we use this? Well, here's our first example. It says find the area and the perimeter of a rectangle with length 10 and width W. All right, so I take a rectangle. I want to draw it. My length is 10, the longer side, and the width is W. So if I want to find the area, you should always write your formula. Area equals length times width. And then we evaluate, or we plug in, we substitute these values in for length and width. So the area would be equal to 10W. Now, that's not an actual answer. That's an algebraic expression that's going to represent the area. So that's it, but that's all we can do. All right, if we want to find the perimeter, we write down our perimeter formula. 2L plus 2W. All right, so the length is 10. I'm going to substitute that in. So 2 times 10, which is 20, plus 2W. All right, a few more. Okay, last example, example 3. You and your friends get 2 pizzas at P dollars each. Okay, so the cost of the pizzas then, cost is N times P, would be 2P. Okay? And then you also get 4 salads at $2 each. So the cost of the salad is 2 times 4, which would be 8. Okay? So if I want the cost of everything that you and your friends spend, it would be 2P plus 8. So this was the cost of the pizzas, and this was the cost of the salads. So together, your cost would be, I'm going to call this cost 1 and cost 2. Your total cost, I'm going to call that cost total, equals 2P plus 8. All right, guys, I want you to try the 4 try nows and bring them to class tomorrow. Have a great day.